Think of the Arizona Cardinals as a rebuilding project. Bruce Arians retired at the end of the season. Carson Palmer already retired. And Larry Fitzgerald, we're not sure about his future, whether or not he's going to retire or play in 2018. So think of the Arizona Cardinals as a rebuilding project. And with the 15th pick in the draft, the Cardinals have an opportunity to make things better. So I see a couple different things playing out. Well, a couple things could definitely play out. As you can see, I have four different things that they could consider to target. Now, the top priority on that list is a quarterback. I see there's a possibility that the Cardinals will be a suitor for Kirk Cousins or even Nick Foles. I could see the Cardinals being a suitor for one or even both those guys at some point in this offseason. But if they can't pick up a quarterback, will the four main quarterbacks we've talked about so far, Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen, Baker Mayfield, and Josh Allen, could one of them eventually be there for the Cardinals? Based on based on the scenarios we've ran, we assume that Cleveland takes one of the quarterbacks with one of their top four picks. Then we also assume that there's a possibility that Rosen will be taken by the Giants. And we also think that Mayfield or Josh Allen will be selected by the Broncos. And then whoever didn't get selected from the Broncos out of Mayfield and Josh Allen could get picked up by the Jets. So the Cardinals might not want to take a quarterback with pick number 15. Is it too early for Lamar Jackson? Is it too early for a Mason Rudolph? Could they hold out until the second round for maybe a Luke Falk? Or maybe is Mason Rudolph going to be there in the second round? Offensive tackle is another priority for the Cardinals. Because the Cardinals, they do not have a good offensive line whatsoever. And there is going to be a plethora of offensive linemen available by pick number 15. Wide receiver, we've kind of covered that already. We're not sure if Larry Fitzgerald is going to play in 2018 or if he's going to announce his retirement like Carson Palmer has. So on those top three priorities, you've covered that the quarterback is the number one priority. Offensive tackles the number two if the Cardinals can successfully land Kirk Cousins or Nick Foles in this offseason. Because I think the Cardinals will try to pursue one of those two quarterbacks. So if they happen to land Kirk Cousins or Nick Foles, I think the pick here at number 15 is an offensive tackle. Because as you can see, the fourth priority is the cornerback. So I'm going to compliment Patrick Peterson. But all the good corners that we've talked about so far should be off the board at this point. Minkah Fitzpatrick should be off the board. Josh Jackson should be off the board at this point. And Denzel Ward should be off the board at this point. So I think the Cardinals might try to be one of those suitors for Malcolm Butler as well. I talked about Malcolm Butler possibly being pursued by the Packers. In fact, I think Malcolm Butler is going to be pursued by quite a bit of teams. I think the Cardinals will be one of them, and it wouldn't surprise me. I think it'd be a pretty solid addition with Patrick Peterson and Malcolm Butler. I think that'd be pretty solid. So the plans in this scenario playing out for this so-called rebuilding project at the quarterback position, try to pursue Kirk Cousins or Nick Foles. For the cornerback position, maybe try to pursue Malcolm Butler. For wide receiver, if Courtland Sutton doesn't get taken by Washington at pick number 13, or even the Dolphins at pick number 11, maybe draft Courtland Sutton. Or we know that Jarvis Landry is an impending free agent, and I don't see Jarvis Landry staying with the Cardinals. So maybe the Cardinals could try to pursue Jarvis Landry. Or pick number 15, just go with the offensive tackle, because the offensive line could use some work. But the way I see this playing out, the Cardinals are in an interesting position because they could pursue one of these positions in free agency. So we will see what happens. But as far as I want to say, I'm not sure if the Cardinals will be able to pursue Kirk Cousins or even Nick Foles. So if they end up at pick number 15 and they still need that quarterback, finding that face of the franchise quarterback, is it too early for Lamar Jackson? Is it too early for Mason Rudolph? Or do they hold out on a quarterback till round 2 or try to bank on Lamar Jackson or even Mason Rudolph or even both of them being available round 2 and just go offensive tackle pick number 15? Or do they take a gamble on Courtland Sutton if he's still available pick number 15? Because I think Courtland Sutton is going to, this is kind of the range where I think Courtland Sutton, the wide receiver of SMU, will fall. Or do they trade up for maybe the cornerback if they're able to pursue one of those two quarterbacks, Kirk Cousins or Nick Foles, that I've talked about? So think of the Arizona Cardinals as this rebuilding project. And we'll see how this rebuilding project is going to go down. A lot of things can play out here.